Jesus claimed to be God. Imagine this. A man walks into the temple, surrounded by religious scholars, leaders, and skeptics. The air is tense. Every eye is on him. He has already caused a stir, healing the sick, teaching radical ideas, performing miracles that defy explanation. But today, he says something so shocking, so controversial, that it nearly gets him killed on the spot. This is the moment Jesus openly claims to be God. It's a story found in John 10 verses 30 to 33. And to understand just how explosive this moment was, we need to step back and look at the bigger picture. Let's set the stage. It's winter in Jerusalem, during the Feast of Dedication, what we now call Hanukkah. The city is alive with celebration, but there's also tension. The religious leaders have been watching Jesus closely. They've seen the crowds gathering around him. They've heard the rumors about his miracles. Some are intrigued. Others, they want him silenced. Jesus is walking in the temple, in a place called Solomon's Colonnade. The religious leaders approach him, not out of curiosity but with a challenge. They demand, "How long will you keep us in suspense? If you are the Messiah, tell us plainly." Now, pause right there. This isn't an innocent question. They are not looking for the truth. They are looking for a way to trap him. You see, claiming to be the Messiah in that time wasn't just a bold statement. It was dangerous. Rome, which occupied Israel, wouldn't tolerate anyone stirring up rebellion. And the religious leaders, they had their own expectations of what the Messiah should be like. To them, Jesus didn't fit the mold. But Jesus doesn't back down. Instead, he looks at them and replies, "I did tell you, but you do not believe. The works I do in my Father's name testify about me, but you do not believe because you are not my sheep." His words are cutting. He's not just saying they don't understand. He's saying they don't even belong to God's people at all. And then, he drops the bombshell. "I and the Father are one." Now, for us today, that might sound like a deep theological statement. But for the people standing there, it was blasphemy. The religious leaders explode in rage. They pick up stones, ready to kill him on the spot. And why? Because they knew exactly what he was saying. He wasn't just calling himself the Messiah. He was claiming to be equal with God. They shout at him, "We are not stoning you for any good work, but for blasphemy, because you, a mere man, claim to be God." To them, this was the ultimate offense. According to Jewish law, claiming to be God was punishable by death. But Jesus, he doesn't run. He doesn't apologize. Instead, he does something brilliant. He turns their own scriptures against them. He says, "Is it not written in your law, I have said you are gods?" Hey, Jesus is referring to Psalm 82, where God calls human judges gods because they were given authority to rule. His point? If the scriptures themselves use such language, why is it so outrageous for him, the one whom the Father has set apart, to say that he is God's son? It's a masterful defense. And then, he goes even further. "Do not believe me unless I do the works of my Father. But if I do them, even though you do not believe me, believe the works, that you may know and understand that the Father is in me, and I in the Father." In other words, if you don't believe what I say, at least look at what I've done. The blind see, the lame walk, the dead are raised. Can a mere man do these things? The crowd is stunned. The religious leaders are furious. But despite their rage, they can't stone him. Not yet. Jesus escapes their grasp and leaves the city. But the controversy doesn't die down. From this moment on, Jesus is a marked man. The religious elite don't just want him silenced. They want him dead. And just a few months later, they get their wish. So, why does this moment matter? Why is it still so controversial? Because in this one statement, "I and the Father are one," Jesus forces everyone to make a decision. Either he was telling the truth, and he really was God in the flesh, or he was lying, and the religious leaders were right to want him gone. There is no middle ground, and that is why this story is still debated, studied, and argued over today. If Jesus really was who he claimed to be, then everything he said about God, sin, and salvation, it all matters. But if he wasn't, then he was the greatest liar in history. So the question is, what do you believe?